Good morning. It is the morning after the Sunday Cup race at the Circuit of the Americas. We saw Shane Van Gisbergen in the number 16 yesterday. We have another new driver in the Kaulig 16 Cup car that we're going to talk about here. But first, I just wanted to give you an update on what's going on here on the channel for today. We're going to do our normal weekly live stream the Monday after COTA. So we'll do that tonight. We'll do it at the normal time, 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Pacific. That time seems to work. I like it. So yeah, make sure to tune in for that. Obviously, I didn't do a race recap yesterday because I was at the race. So there's a lot to talk about between Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch. The finish of the Xfinity race, the whole Cup race itself. I got to rewatch the highlights or watch the highlights. I obviously watched the race, but just to see what it was like on TV. So enough talking about that. Let's get on to the new driver of the number 16. The Kaulig 16 car this year has been a part-time basis for each driver. Last year, we saw AJ Allmendinger in that car full-time, missed the playoffs, but he did win a race in the playoffs. He won at the Charlotte Roval. Allmendinger has since gone back to or was demoted. I really don't know what actually happened, whether it was AJ or Kaulig's choice. But AJ Allmendinger is back in the Xfinity Series full-time, competing for a championship there. But he has also run in the 16 and the Cup Series side of things. We've seen AJ Allmendinger in the 16. We've seen Shane Van Gisbergen in the number 16, as I just said. Derek Kraus has been in the 16. Josh Williams has been in the 16. I'm trying to think. I feel like I've missed somebody here, but there's been multiple drivers in this number 16 car. Some guys have their definitive schedules like SVG and Derek Kraus, and then others, they just pop up every once in a while like Allmendinger and Williams. Of course, Allmendinger and Williams in the Kaulig racing family in the Xfinity Series. SVG as well, but his schedule was set over the winter break. Now we have our new driver that we're finally going to talk about. It's Ty Dillon. No Kaulig, he's not a Kaulig Xfinity driver. I don't think he's ever driven for Kaulig before, so this is a tiny bit random, but he does have Chevy ties. Obviously, his family, his brother Austin Dillon drives a Chevy. His grandfather, Richard Childress, owned Chevy. So, he's always had that connection there, but he's not always driven Chevys. He's driven for Toyota with the Gaunt brothers. But Ty Dillon, let's read the announcement or the tweet or whatever, and then I'll tell you his schedule. We're excited to have Ty Dillon behind the wheel of the number 16 Chevy for 5 races in 2024, starting this weekend at Richmond Raceway. And then here's his schedule. Richmond, Texas, New Hampshire, the second Richmond, and then the fall Kansas race. So those are the 4 races that we will see Ty Dillon in for the NASCAR Cup Series. It's, as I said, it's a tiny bit random. Ty Dillon's back in the Chevy camp. He drives for Rackley, Rackley War, however you say it. In the Truck Series, it's not been the greatest start to the year for him. But he's back in the Cup Series part-time, and if you've watched my videos before, when I talk about Kaulig, this has just been the conversation that we've been having for the past 6 months, it feels like. The Kaulig used to be one of the most promising young teams in NASCAR. Seemed like they were going to really burst onto the scene in the Cup Series side of things and really make a run at it. Be competitive, be up front, elevate themselves. But the past 6 months, it's just nothing really has. Allmendinger winning at the Roval was impressive, but everything else, in terms of not even just on-track performance, but just some of the moves they've made have not really impressed me. Obviously, you got to do what you got to do to keep your business afloat, to keep the race team going. But just looking at their driver lineup, obviously you got some talented drivers. Allmendinger's still in there. SVG's in there, but SVG's on a Trackhouse contract, so you don't get to keep him forever unless, Trackhouse leases him out for a full season in Cup or Xfinity again, whatever it may be. But, Daniel Hemrick, yes, he's an Xfinity Series champion, but that's quite literally his only win in NASCAR. Josh Williams, they're really just taking a chance on him, and he's had a horrific start to the year. Derek Kraus, he's young, so I'll give him a pass on that one. And then Ty Dillon. Ty Dillon hasn't won a National Series race in 10 years. He's won 1 Xfinity race in 2014, and he's won 3 Truck Series races, and then in the Cup Series, okay, well, to defend him in the Cup Series, he has not really been racing the best equipment. Germain Racing, Gaunt Brothers, Petty GM. Well, Petty GMS, they won the year he was there, so maybe you could make an argument he was in decent equipment that year. Spire before this year. So you can make the argument he wasn't in the greatest Cup equipment. You got to give him a little bit more of a chance, but it's not my call ultimately. There's a reason I don't make these calls. But Ty Dillon is indeed the 5th driver we're going to see in the 16 car this year. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching. As I said, tonight we are going to be live streaming, talking about everything COTA this weekend. I drove back late last night trying to beat some gnarly thunderstorms. I did beat them, by the way. I was like William Byron yesterday. I was fast. I beat them. Within legal limits, though, if anyone asks. But thanks for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to talking about COTA tonight. I'm going to go watch those highlights, Truck, Xfinity, and Cup, and I'll be ready to talk about them and some F1 too. Max Verstappen didn't win. How about that?